This is our fifth installment of what we call WeSing. And it's hip and cool because it's all one word. That's how you know it's cool. What is WeSing? Well, actually, there's a placard or a card dispersed amongst you. And it actually says that there are four purposes for WeSing: to restore our wonder of worship through song, to intensify our worship with more fully engaged hearts and minds, to make us all more passionate about congregational singing as part of the worship service. I think that's what David spoke to this morning, which I thought was awesome to hear. And then to encourage each of us to lift our voices in congregational song. This is our fifth installment, like I said. And we have with us, our guest musician is Wendell Kimbrough. And I have known Wendell actually a very long time, but I don't know him as well, I think. I don't email him near as much as John does. So I'm going to allow John Weiss to come and introduce him.
Yeah, I'll introduce him after Kurt already has. David told you a little bit about Wendell this morning, but he kind of got on my radar with his work on the Psalms. And, I'll just point out a couple of things that have been pointed out before, that it's the whole range of the human experience that he focuses on, which would include lament and grief, anger, and then let's not forget a playful, joyful celebration. And so his melodies are singable. You'll see elements of folk music and gospel and even maybe a touch of soul. I did find a quote from the senior pastor at Independent Pres in Memphis who said that what makes Wendell fairly unique are three things. He uses scriptural texts for his lyrics, his tunes, which are extremely useful for congregational singing, and his approach in concert, which involves teaching God's people the music to sing. He says their people were thrilled to sing the songs, and not just that night, but in subsequent gatherings. Many of you who are here on Sunday nights already know some of Wendell's songs. You may not even know that you know them, but maybe you'll discover that tonight. I'm going to let Wendell introduce Bethany and Nate, who are here with him, but I think you'll find this a delightful time together and maybe informative as well. So, Wendell, it's all y'all's.
Thank you. John, thanks for putting this together and having us. It really is an honor to be out here and fun for me. I grew up, I was born in Ozark, Alabama, not far from here, and lived in Clio in Barber County, not far from here again. And Montgomery was the big city. So it's fun to be back. It was cool driving around downtown and thinking, I kind of remember this. I was like 5 when we moved away. So. Really happy to have my friends Bethany Bordeaux and Nate Thornton with us tonight. Nate, appreciate you making the trip. Bethany's down from Nashville. Nate's lives in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, but was actually in Nashville. We're going to play some songs for y'all. And tonight, we're doing a couple of things, right? We're having a vesper service in a little bit, but tonight I want this to be kind of a hybrid between a concert and a time of worship. So you're going to have lyrics on the screen. A lot of these will be new songs for you, but I've tried to pick ones that I think are pretty simple and easy to pick up quickly. So I'm going to ask you guys to sing and to kind of find your way in on a lot of the songs tonight. And I'll have you stand for some of it. And I'll share and talk a little bit after we sing a couple of songs. And I look forward to hearing you guys sing. Actually, y'all might have thought you came to hear me, but I'm looking forward to hearing you guys sing. So, we're going to begin with a song called Rejoice in All Your Works. And I want to invite y'all to stand with us. This is based on Psalm 104.
With the mountain, sky, and sea, we sing your praise. Every tree that begs for rain, every bird that seeks its nest, every heart that waits in hope to be made glad. All creation looks to you for its breath and for its food. From the goodness of your hand we're satisfied. Oh, rejoice in all your works, King of heaven, King of earth. Every creature you have made declares your praise. We rejoice in all you made, God of all sustaining grace. With the mountain, sky, and sea, we sing your praise. The wanderings of my heart and the song upon my lips, with the chorus of creation join in praise. To the God who made all things, to the Spirit who sustains, to the Son who over all creation reigns. Oh, rejoice in all your works, King of heaven, King of earth. Every creature you have made declares your praise. We rejoice in all you made, God of all sustaining grace. With the mountain, sky, and sea, we sing your praise. Amen. I don't, we're all different. Churches have different cultures. For this portion of the evening, you're welcome to clap. You don't have to, Presbyterians. When you're in a Presbyterian church, it's, I don't know. I think probably for the Vesper service, we'll try to be a little more formal. We've got a liturgy, but I'm going to be talking, so it's pretty informal. This first portion. This next song is called Sing, 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 and we're kind of trying this one out. It's a new one, but I was like, how can I do WeSing and not sing the song titled Sing, Sing, Sing? So you guys are gonna get it. This is my imagination of what Johnny Cash would do with Psalm 96. Every single day, God bless the Lord's name. You got to sing, sing, sing to the Lord. Let the people say from every tongue and race, come sing, sing, sing to the Lord. For the Lord reigns and He comes to judge the earth. He comes to sing a song that will right every wrong. In the world He builds the joy will never be destroyed. So sing, sing, sing to the Lord. There's no other God other than our God. So sing, sing, sing to the Lord. He has formed the skies, so open up your eyes and see the beauty of the Lord. judge you. Comes to sing a song that will right every wrong. In the world he builds a door will never be destroyed. So sing, sing, sing to the Lord. Lords, for the Lord reigns, and he comes to judge you. Comes to sing a song that will right every wrong. In the world he builds a door will never be destroyed. So sing, sing, sing to the Lord. Thank you guys. Y'all have a seat. So I'm going to talk a little bit about singing, and then we'll actually do some more. We'll do some more singing soon. Yeah, you guys want to have a seat? If you open up a Bible to actually a couple of different letters of Paul, and you don't have to do that. If you got a Bible, you're welcome to, but I'm not gonna actually read it tonight, because I just want to talk about one phrase, and it'll be one that you're familiar with. Both in Ephesians and in Colossians, Paul's doing this thing where he's talking about what does it look like. Basically, it's like Jesus has risen from the dead and has ushered in a new creation, right? This like cosmic, life-changing event has happened. And what do we do now? You know, it's like they're all kind of figuring it out. You know, it's like, what do we do now? This thing happened. The resurrection happened. New life has begun. Like, what does it look like for us to practice being this new creation that Jesus says he's made us, right? And in both of those letters, and actually in most of Paul's letters, like he's going through and he gets into a place where he starts talking about putting off things and putting on things. And he's basically saying, like, put off these vices, these things that are features of our brokenness, kind of the old self, the flesh, and he talks about putting on markers of new creation, right? And it's like a list of virtues, essentially. And both in Ephesians and in Colossians, when Paul does this, there's an interesting feature that makes the list. And it's singing. It's like, in light of this resurrection, in light of this cosmic event that has happened, one of the things that we are called to do is sing. And Paul says it specifically. He says, sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. Now, I don't know, I think that's kind of interesting, right? If you go to like your average school curriculum, like choral class is an elective, right? It's like there's very few schools where you're required to do singing. Like as a culture, we don't really believe that singing is a like non-optional, like crucial thing that all humans have to do. Right, we think of it as kind of, it's like, well, some people are good at that and they do that, and some people aren't, and they don't. And we even, a little side note, but like we even have kind of I think we have kind of a little bit of a shame culture around singing. You think about shows like American Idol, you know, it's like, there's this high stakes thing, and it's like, what you don't want to be is that person who goes up on stage and thinks they can sing and actually really can't and sounds terrible and bombs, right? Like, this is like in the back of our minds, right? And actually, most of us have been told, myself included, at some point in our lives, someone's told us that we can't sing. I mean, I don't know, show of hand, has anyone? Am I the only one? Right? Yeah, right? I mean, I'm somewhat of a professional musician at this point in my life, right? But I remember being told as a middle schooler, you know, can't sing, you know. And it actually took me a long time to kind of like come out of that and like make sense of that experience. So like the odds are kind of stacked against corporate singing, honestly. I mean, I think that like as a culture, we have this shame, fear thing around it. Most of us have been told that we can't sing, or we kind of feel like probably nobody wants to hear us sing. And yet, here's Paul, and he's not saying, those of you who are really good at music, sing, right? It's like, what does it look like to be a Christian, essentially? Singing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. And he even says singing them to one another. That's kind of a whole nother talk, but it's you're not just doing it in the shower, right? It's like it's a corporate thing. You're singing them to one another. You're actually supposed to be encouraging one another through the singing of songs to each other. And so I just want to reflect a little bit with you on why I think singing makes the short list. You know, the list of virtues, or the list of things that mark what it looks like to be a new creation in Christ. And to do that, I want to give you guys an image, okay? I'm going to try to keep this short. I'm watching the clock, so I don't just talk all night. I want to give you an image. I believe that singing is like a gymnasium for your heart. And by heart, I mean your emotional core, like the kind of core of your being. It's like a gymnasium for your emotional life. And what do I mean by that? Well, what's a gym? A gym is a place where we go to get to be formed, right? You go to the gym because you want to get stronger, or you want to get faster, or you don't want to die of a heart attack, and so you want your heart to get, your literal, actual heart, to get stronger. But singing is this very embodied experience, right? It accesses your diaphragm, right? Like your gut, your muscles are involved. Like there's actually, literally, it's like good for you physically to sing, okay? But it also, neuroscientists talk about how music and singing has like kind of a privileged pathway to your emotions. And I think we all know this, right? It's not like something that I feel like I need to argue for. Like, music has a way of kind of slipping through the back door, and I think we've all had this experience. You don't even realize it, but you're singing along to that song or whatever, and all of a sudden you're crying, and you're like, I don't know where that came from. It's not purely cognitive. Like it has a way of bypassing some of our intellectual and mental barriers and just kind of working its way into that place where our emotions live and where our emotions come from. Singing is like taking your emotional self, your heart, to the gym to work out. It works the muscles of your feelings. It gives you a space to feel sadness, right? When you sing a song that's sad and all of a sudden it connects with your heart and you realize, like, I'm really sad about this thing going on in my family, or this thing I heard about on the news, and I need to express that, right? You may not have been thinking, oh, I've got to go express this, right? But all of a sudden that song, like, gives your heart language and gives you permission to start feeling those feelings that have been kind of stuffed down. So I think that singing is like taking your heart to the gym, taking your emotional core to the gym to work out. And because of that, I think it's so important what Paul says, and this is, again, kind of extending the imagery. What you do when you get to the gym matters, right? If I were to go to the gym every day for a year, and all I did were bicep curls with my right arm. How would I be formed? What would happen to my body? Right, Popeye, that's right, that's exactly right. I mean, not only that, if I only did bicep curls with my right arm for a year, like, I would actually probably be deformed by the end of that year. Like, my back would be weird, you know, my back would be out of alignment, like I'd have this huge bicep and probably a pretty strong grip, and like my back would be all out of whack trying to compensate for, you know, you get the idea. It's like, if we're taking our heart to this vulnerable place of pushing through our shame and our fear, right, and we're singing and we're getting our emotions engaged in song, but we only sing songs that are happy clapping, right? We only sing songs that are joyful, for instance. Like, our hearts don't actually get formed into whole hearts, right? We get really developed in one area. We have all these songs and all these ways of expressing one very important and legitimate aspect of song and expression and life, right? We have a way of singing joyful songs, right? But the other parts of our heart remain underformed, you know, underdeveloped. And when we hit these places in life where crisis happens, you know, immense loss comes in our family or our friends or our community, right? We find we don't have the muscles, you know, we don't have the language, we don't have the songs to help us feel our way through that that crisis. And so, you know, this gets a little in the weeds, but like when Paul says sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, at the very least, he's talking about sing all the different types of psalms. Because in the Septuagint, which was the Bible that Paul would have had, the Old Testament that he would have had, the translation of the Old Testament in Greek that he would have had, that Jesus would have had, those three Greek terms, psalms, hymns, spiritual songs, those are headings for different types of psalms in the Psalter. Y'all following that? Does that make sense? Like, these aren't arbitrary terms. They're terms that refer to, essentially Paul's saying, sing these kinds of psalms and these kinds of psalms and these kinds of psalms. Like, sing all of them. Don't just sing the ones that feel very natural to you and your culture, right? Like, some songs are very easy for us to sing in church. They feel very natural. It's like, this is what you do in church. He's saying, sing those, yes. Sing these other ones. Sing these other ones. Sing all the different songs. And I don't know about you guys, but that makes me a little uncomfortable. Like, have you read the Psalms? They are disarmingly honest, right? They're way more honest than I like to be at church. I prefer to come to church and smile and, you know, tell everybody I'm doing great. How are you? You know, that's what's like natural for me. But I deeply believe, and I've experienced this in my own life, just how important it is that we learn how to lament, for instance. That we don't wait till we hit a crisis in our life and then all of a sudden start trying to figure out, how do you pray to God when you're mad at God? You know, or how do you talk to God when you are not even sure that He's there or cares? Like, is there a prayer for that? How do we do that? There's actually a lot of prayers like that in the Psalms. And so, again, the image I want you guys to take around singing is like, singing, giving yourself to this act of singing is like opening your heart up to go into the gym. And it's hard. I find it hard, honestly. I think some people find it more easy and more natural than others, but it's vulnerable. For some of us, it can feel scary. You're afraid the person behind you or in front of you is going to hear you and think you don't sing well. You know, it feels like a risk. But the reason I hope, and this is trying to tie this together, I really hope that you will bring your heart into that vulnerable place and give it to the very many different types of songs that God gives us to sing in the Psalter. Because what's really at stake and what is really on offer, I believe, from God, is a very intimate relationship with Him. That's what I want. Like, I really want to know how to talk to God in every season of my life. When I'm doing well, when I'm not doing well, when I'm mad, when I'm, I see what's going on in the world and I'm, feeling the fire of justice in my heart. Like, when I feel alone. Like, I want to be able to sing to God and bring my heart to Him in all of those moments. And I really believe that's what God wants for all of His children. And that in those moments, because we've done this work of singing together and singing all these different types of songs that challenge us and stretch us and grow us, that when we do come to these moments of real crisis and testing in our lives, like, we have language, we have songs that help us feel our way through those crises and talk to God about them. It's not a silver bullet to make the pain go away. It's not something that's going to give you an easy fix or make your life, better in 5 steps. But it is, I believe, a true gift from God to us to be able to come to Him and express in language that He's given us, God, I'm hurting, or God, I feel lost, or God, where are you? So, I want to say one more thing, then I'm going to sing a song. We're actually going to do a couple of psalms of lament. If you think about it, Jesus, as a good first century Jew, would have sung the Psalms. Just would have been part of he probably would have had most of them memorized, because he would have been singing them in synagogue like every week of his life. And just think for a second about how, yes, Jesus was God, but He was also a human. And He had to learn and grow, right? And just think about how formative that was in His own spiritual journey, like His own journey becoming who He was and being ready for His earthly ministry. And you see it in His life because He quotes the Psalms all the time. They're just in His bones. Even to the degree that, what comes out of Jesus' lips literally on the cross, right? He says, my God, why have you forsaken me? That's Psalm 22. And He may very well have sung it from the cross. We don't know, but Jesus was prepared for the ministry that He had by this work, really, of singing the Psalms throughout His life, from when He was a little kid to a grown-up. And we are invited into that same formative practice as Christians. I'm going to sing a couple of songs of lament, and then we'll have the band come back up in a few minutes to do a few more with me. I'm going to ask y'all remain seated, and we'll kind of feel our way through these. The flood
it's a hard song. It's a difficult one for me to sing. It's one that we did at my church this past year after the shooting in Uvalde. Oh God, do not be silent. Oh God, do not be still. Oh God, you can't stand by and watch while your children are killed. You heard the people screaming. You heard the cries of pain. You know the ones who made these plans. You know they'll come again. Oh God, be like the hurricane. Oh God, be like the storm. Oh God of justice, come like fire. Do not let them escape. Oh God, do not be silent. Oh God, do not be still. Oh God, you can't stand by and watch while your children are killed. This next song is called "I'll Not Be Shaken," and I don't have the lyrics up for you, but I'm going to sing the chorus. I'd like to invite you to learn it and sing it with me. It's very simple. It goes like this. Let me sing the chorus. I'll not be shaken. I'll not be shaken. For all my hope is in His love. From God alone comes my salvation. I'll wait and trust His steadfast
Hard to sing those songs a little bit. I found it hard. I thought I was going to not get through that second one. Thank you guys for going there with me tonight. This next one's a hymn. It's called Eternal Way to Glory, and it's based off of a couple of Pauline passages in the Corinthian letters. I'm not going to say anything else about it. We're just going to sing it. It's called Eternal Way of Glory. Would you guys stand with us? This one? I think we'll have the lyrics up. Now the days and hours and moments of our suffering seem so long, and the toilsome weight and wandering threaten silence to our song. Now our pain is real and pressing, where our faith is thin and weak, but our hope is set on Jesus, and we cling to Him, our strength. Oh, eternal weight of glory, oh, inheritance divine, we will see our Lord redeeming every past and future time. All our pains will be transfigured like the scars of Christ our Lord. We will see the weight of glory, and our broken years restored. For behold, I tell a mystery, at the trumpet sound will ring. Death is swallowed up in victory, when we meet our King of grace.
Every year we thought was wasted. Every night we cried out, passing moment in our Savior's victory song. We will see our wounded Savior, we'll behold Him face to face, and we'll hear our anguished story sung as victory songs of praise. For behold, I tell of ministry, at the trumpet sound will wave. Death is swallowed up in victory when we meet our King of praise. Every year we thought was wasted. Every night we cried out long. All will be a passing moment in our Savior's victory song. Every year we thought was wasted. Every night we cried out long. All will be a passing moment in our Savior's victory song. It's time to say we're out of time. One more? One more. All right, we'll do one more. Sorry, Kurt. You're right on target, man. It wasn't. It probably should be, but we're going to do one more now. Sure. This one's called The Day of the Lord. It's from Psalm 37. It's not long till the boastful are silenced and shamed. It's not long till the wealth of the wicked's reclaimed, and the ones who have waited with eyes on the Lord will shine like the sun forevermore. 'Cause it's not long till the day of the Lord. Just be still and be faithful, and dwell in the land. Put your trust in the Savior and cling to His hand. When your heart burns with anger for all that is wrong, do not let the dark steal your song. 'Cause it's not long till the day of the Lord. It's not long till the day of the Lord. It's not long till the day of the Lord. Everything that is broken will soon be restored. It's not long till the day of the Lord. Do not fear for the wicked with weapons of war, for the Lord the power of the sword he'll destroy. It's not long till the day of the Lord is on. It's not long till the day of the Lord. It's not long till the day of the Lord. Everything that is broken will soon be restored. It's not long till the day of the Lord. It's not long till the day of the Lord. It's not long till the day of the Lord. Everything that is broken will soon be restored. It's not long till the day of the Lord. It's not long till the day of the Lord. Thank you, guys.
You know, musicians love to tell pastors, "Now get back down." They, Mark, Shannon, don't get any ideas. They, in all seriousness, thank you, Wendell and Bethany and Nate, for leading us. We have about, I'd say, 5 minutes before our Vesper service is going to begin. I'm going to pray to end this time, and then you'll have about 5 minutes. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for gifting your people, and we thank you for Wendell's gifts and Bethany and Nate and their willingness to come and to share their gifts and to lead us and to teach us and encourage us. And we do pray that Lord, that we can join with them in singing your praise. And we also pray that you would come quickly, that it wouldn't be long until your day. And we pray you be with us as we head to our Vesper service.